Overcrowding in prisons is just as it sounds. It's when a prison surpasses its maximum capacity of prisoners. Overcrowding is a pressing issue in today's society because it creates an issue for prison staff, the inmates themselves, and the money spent on these facilities. There are many contributing factors to leading up to these conditions, such as the amount of people that are in prisons, why they were put there, and the money spent to house all these inmates. This is a multifaceted issue, and I would like to help provide some solutions in fixing this issue. In 2005, the BBC News published a study showing the world's top 17 countries' prison population rates. The United States, China, Russia currently hold half of the world's population rate of 5 million people that are incarcerated. The United States comes at the top of that list with a high amount of 2,193,789 prisoners. China is at a close second with 100,548,498 prisoners. Now that we know that the United States prison, what the United States prison population is, now let's look at what they are put in there for. In 2019, the Federal Bureau of Prisons posted a study listing 13 different offenses with the percentages of inmates that committed those offenses. Looking at this chart, we can see that drug offenses are by far the most common crime in the United States prisons. Violent offenses such as homicide, aggravated assault, kidnapping, and sexual offenses are at a lower rate. To put this into perspective, about 70% of inmates are currently in prison due to non-violent offenses. Looking at another study from the Federal Bureau of Prisons created in April 2019, a little over half of these inmates are either in minimum or low level security prisons. That means that they are a low risk to society, meaning that they are either in there to serve their time and get out, or they don't believe that they can make it in the real world, so they keep doing stuff to put themselves back in jail, because prison provides basic needs like shelter, food, community, and a sense of purpose, because most prisons provide jobs for their inmates. Now that we know why inmates are in prison, now let's explore what it costs the United States every year to house these inmates. The United States spends about $80.7 billion on public correction agencies a year. These agencies are prisons, jails, parole, and probation. But this dollar amount does not include paying employees, healthcare, construction, food, utilities, private correction facilities. And if we add all of this together, the annual cost would be $882 billion every year. This overspending strains resources that could be used to help rehabilitate low-level offenders who don't serve as a risk to society, and could help lower the risk of inmates who are being put back into jail. Another issue is with our current bail system. With our current bail system, inmates don't have to be convicted of a crime to be housed in jail. In this data from the New York City Jail, made in 2013, more than 50% of inmates that were held could not afford to pay bail that was under $2,500 or less. Most of these cases were misdemeanors. If suspects are accused, they have to put up money as collateral for their freedom. If they can't come up with that money, they are housed in jail. These inmates spend more time in jail the longer that these court proceedings last. This is not only a failure in our jail system, but our legal system as a whole. Overcrowding is just one of these symptoms. If we want to correct overcrowding in prisons, we have to start at our bail system. Gangs are also an issue in prisons because they prey on inmates. Looking for protection, inmates feel that they need to join a gang in order to protect themselves from other inmates starting conflict with them. Once gang members are in, they are in for life, and this includes when they get out of jail. Most gang members and inmates are put back in jail because of gang-affiliated crimes. Most statistics that you can find on how many inmates are affiliated with gangs are estimates. So we don't actually know how many inmates are in gangs because inmates don't share that they are in gangs. Guards can assume that these inmates are in gangs because of who they hang out with and the things that they wear, but they don't ultimately know that they are in gangs because these inmates do not share with the guards that they are affiliated with gangs. And typically inmates keep that information within their gang. From gaining facts about prison systems, we can begin to create solutions to fix the overcrowding problem. For example, implementing more rehabilitation centers and programs for inmates to learn how to live on the outside world with a record without being readmitted. Although there are rehabilitation programs already in jails today, most of them end up being cut because of budget costs. Instead of giving people time in prison for nonviolent crimes, we should put them on strict parole instead. Instead of sending people with possession of drug offenses straight to jail, we should send them to rehabilitation centers where they can get help, rather than putting them in a system where they can end up getting those drugs anyways. Changing minimum mandatory sentencing laws, changing drug sentencing laws on being more rehabilitation rather than time being spent in prison, and bail laws to where the system doesn't rely on the financial situation of the accused. We shouldn't make the system about punishment. We should make the system about making sure that people don't go back into jail. Having less people in jail and incarcerated benefits everyone.